Okay, I can't even tell you how frustrated I am right now. So I'm going to rush through this second half because not only was I interrupted, these fucking devices are all like synced in with each other, and so it cut off the last video, which is why this is a part 2. But in addition to that, I just did 25 minutes more of a video that is well, it didn't record. So, and I need to get on because I got other shit to do. No offense to you guys, because I don't mean to not put my time and energy into this. It's just I really am pressed for time, unfortunately. So, our underlying energy, we got the Sun card. Excellent card. Speaks for itself. Oh, this is hard to do this all again, like, after I just, like, went through it all. I will recenter myself. Okay, what do we have? The lesson that we have learned and that we have integrated and that is representative of our life right now is that the 5 of Wands energy no longer drives us. We are no longer driven by competition, boundary placement. We have integrated these things. We know ourselves emotionally. We do not need to be in this abrupt, competitive spirit. The competitiveness exists within, and the only person that we are supposed to compete with is ourselves. Remember that. I think that'll help us navigate the Saturn-Uranus energies much better if we remember that we're not here to compete with the outside world. Sorry. Okay. Next message. I'm sorry, I'm going to rush this because I really went into a lot of intricacies with these cards and it's lost. So maybe it just wasn't a useful message. I have to accept that. But at the same time, I don't feel very inspired right now to upload all of this stuff. So here we go. The craftsman, along with the Page of Swords, is a very strong emphasis. This is us in our environment. This is all about understanding that the only way for us to move forward at this point in time is to commit to our craft, to understand whether that means that we are a secretary or a boss or a bitch or a lazy ass motherfucker, that you gotta focus on your craft. And you got to remain teachable. You know, the Page of Swords is there to remind us that the only way forward right now is to be able to receive. And receiving is not just receiving gifts. I mean, you can see, if you see knowledge as gifts, opportunities to grow, then yes, it is about gifts. But it's about receiving new codes, new methods of understanding in order to expand your path, your horizon, and you do it through hard work, you know. And again, hard work is not, I'm not talking about manual labor here. I'm talking about, you know, who you are, what makes you tick. We've done the work, you know what that is. So now you have to really stay focused in order for you to take in your environment and to become an integral part of that in a way that is expansive for you. That's the work that we're talking about. Our past tells us you moved away from this 8 of Cups energy through our energetic flow of the star. So, you know, it takes a lot for a person to have 8 cups. You know, this is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get to 8 cups, and then realize that you still, this is that eclipse energy up here that we're just coming out of, that you still have other accomplishments, other things to fulfill, and then if you want to get to that 9th and 10th cup of self-fulfillment emotionally, and then ultimately legacy of emotion where you can share and expand with all around you because you have enough for yourself that you can provide for others emotionally. You know, that you have to let go of these old stories, these old emotional attachments in order to do so. And the flow of that through the star is all about this is somebody who is in alignment. Their 7 chakras are aligned. They are receptive to the divine source of energy, and they become a conduit of that. And this is very Libran, the idea of the balance. We put into our subconscious mind. We're not just unraveling from that in order to become. We are now actually flowing into the subconscious. We're feeding our subconscious with new opportunities for expansion, while also, as you can see here, nurturing the soil around us, our external material life. It's all in divine flow. Moving away from those old stories, those old emotional attachments, opens us up to that, into the ultimate victory of the High Priestess and the Six of Wands. As we had this recently as our outcome, I think it's very important to remember this is an indication that whatever processes we've been experiencing, we are actually now able to integrate light and dark, understanding their equal power and their essential parts of the same process. This is us. The dark and the light matter exists within us. That is the very essence of who we are, and one cannot exist without the other. Again, darkness is not. Darkness is the unexplored, the unknown. It's the shadow. It is not the monsters. If you're not doing the work, then yes, the monster under the bed will terrify you. That's really essentially why kids have that vibe, because they don't have this conscious awareness to understand where their fears come from, up here, So anyway, expect some recognition for that this week. There's a part of this flow that I've lost, because there was a very important flow to these cards that I was enthusiastically communicating in my previous video, but I have faith that you can put the pieces together from what I am telling you. Our future energy, we have the Knight of Cups and the Chariot. So, yes, this is a very strong indication that from a sociable perspective, our emotions are now externalizing, and that we're much more, we have the potentiality for building new relationships in our life. Very, very strongly indicated by this. That Chariot is about movement, it's about integration, it's about flow, it's about inspiration, and it's about drive and being pushed forward through the receiving of the divine feminine in order to fuel this divine masculine chariot forward. This person knows where they're headed, This person is also very, this energy is us in our empowerment of self-knowledge, and therefore being self-confident enough to put ourselves out there and being beyond expectation. It's like being so comfortable in yourself that you don't need to define that externally. However anyone responds to you, you accept for exactly what it is. It doesn't change your definition of yourself. It doesn't change how you feel about yourself. But as a result of that, you're more likely to bring in adventurous, exciting, new emotional experiences, new challenging relationships with people. And when I say challenging, I don't mean like, people that force you into facing your shit and owning it, and then expanding and learning, all in a way that's loving, secure, kind, nurturing, the way that we should all be experiencing relationships and participating in relationships, even though most people don't do that, but we're special. How do we get there? How is this going to play out for us? Well, it's pretty simple. Three of Wands in this case is it can be a card about expectation. It is about being at the point where we have done the work, and therefore we get to kick back a little bit and watch our ships come in. But combined with the Empress, there's a divine knowingness there that we are fertile, that we have the ability to expand, and that we are on the verge of great expansion. And so there's great, how would I put this? There's great potentiality in that energetic flow of allowing what we have, allowing ourselves to reap what we have sown. It's not about waiting, it's not about procrastinating, it's not about putting a halt on something, it's about receiving while we already have. How would I put that? Well, I suppose with the Saturn Uranus energy, it's like really about, receiving the unexpected and understanding that there is great fertility in the unexpected, even if it comes across as being menacing or uncomfortable. The only time that something is menacing or is uncomfortable is because it triggers our insecurities, right? I mean, outside of practical matters. But even then, essentially, you're here to grow. So, like, if some hurdle comes along financially or whatever else, that's only being given to you because somewhere in your life you're out of alignment and you need to integrate moving beyond your egoic construct within that, particular situation. I wanted to be more succinct in this reading, and I hope that has made sense, but I did kind of lose flow, so I kind of relied on the cards to explain themselves, and hopefully you can integrate what we talked about in the previous part 1 video, because there is a lot of flow in those 2 readings, but yeah. It's amazing to me that that's the way that the universe can work, that, I barely ever hear from anybody in my life, but somehow I sit down to do my reading and, like, everybody starts calling and coming out of the woodwork. So, can we get an Osho clarifier? Because I don't want to read the celebration card again, because we did that last week. So, do we have an outcome card, Spirit? I would really like to just read one wise card for us to end this on. Of course, you give us 2. Well, we have 2, which could explain the be peaceful, see the big picture, and this walking away, and this work that we need to do, and moving away from our boundary setting, because we got these 2 that came out. Guilt and understanding. Understanding is the outcome. Guilt will be the understanding of what we're letting go of. So let us read the general gist of those. 132. This would be the Eight of Swords, right? Yes. Guilt is one of the most destructive emotions in which we get caught. If we have wronged another or gone against our own truth, then of course we will feel bad. But to let ourselves be overwhelmed with guilt is to invite a migraine. We end up surrounded by nagging clouds of self-doubt and feelings of worthlessness to the point where we cannot see any of the beauty and joy that life is trying to offer us. We all long to be better people, more loving, more aware, more true to ourselves. But when we punish ourselves for our failures by feeling guilty, we can get locked into a cycle of despair and hopelessness that robs us of all clarity about ourselves and the situations we encounter. You are absolutely okay as you are, and it is absolutely natural to go astray from time to time. Just learn from it and move on, and use the lesson not to make the same mistake again. Exactly. There's no point in like feeling bad about it, right? It's just part of the flow. This moment, this here now, is forgotten when you start thinking in terms of achieving something. When the achieving mind arises, you lose contact with the paradise you are in. This is one of the most liberating approaches. It liberates you right now. Forget all about sin and forget all about saintliness. Both are stupid. Both together have destroyed all the joys of humanity. Amen. The sinner is feeling guilty, hence his joy is lost. How can you enjoy life if you're continuously feeling guilty? If you are continuously going to the church to confess that you have done this wrong and that wrong, and wrong and wrong and wrong, your whole life seems to be made of sins. How can you live joyously? It becomes impossible to delight in your life. You become heavy, loaded. Guilt sits on your chest like a rock. It crushes you. It does not allow you to dance. How can you dance? How can you guilt dance? How can you guilt sing? How can you guilt love? How can you guilt live? So the one who thinks he is doing something wrong is guilty, burdened, dead before death, and has already entered the grave. So fuck guilt. Thanks. I like that. Needed that permission. And let's move on to understanding, which I don't. What is understanding? I mean, I don't mean literally that I don't know what understanding is. Maybe I do. Let's see. Understanding. What the heck is understanding? Oh, it is the Page of Cups. Interesting. Page 62. So this is our outgoing overall message. So if you have managed to find some succinct way of perceiving the synergy of this message between these two disjointed videos, this is the glue that holds it all together. So let's focus on this energy for the week to come. Put it up close for you. It's kind of beautiful. The bird pictured on this card is looking out from what seems to be a cage. There is no door, and actually the bars are disappearing. The bars were an illusion, and this small bird is being summoned by the grace and freedom, encouragement of the others. It is spreading its wings, ready to take flight for the very first time. The dawn of a new understanding that the cage has always been open and the sky has always been there for us to explore can make us feel a little shaky at first. It's fine and natural to be shaky, but don't let it overshadow the opportunity to experience the lightheartedness and adventure on offer, right there alongside the shakiness. Move with the sweetness and gentleness of this time. Feel the fluttering within, spread your wings and be free. And that, my friends, is exactly what this is. That we move from this being our past energy, into this. That's exactly what this is all about. And actually, it really describes this process too. The waiting. The waiting is not the waiting, in other words. It's like there's action in the waiting, and that's your life happening in the present moment. And this is what it's imbued with. So let's read on. You are out of jail, out of the cage. You can open your wings and the whole sky is yours. All the stars and the moon and the sun belong to you. You can disappear into the blueness of the beyond. Just drop clinging to this cage, move out of the cage, and the whole sky is yours. Open your wings and fly across the sun like an eagle. In the inner sky, in the inner world, freedom is the highest value. Everything else is secondary, even blissfulness, ecstasy. There are thousands of flowers, uncountable, but they all become possible in the climate of freedom. I love it. I'm glad that actually those two cards came out because they literally summed up this entire reading in a way that my disjointedness could never have done. So thank you, universe, for providing us with something that actually made sense. I'm sure you found value in this somewhere. I know I did. I just wish I could have edited the videos together, but I did this directly on YouTube, so not through any editing software. So again, I apologize. I look forward to this. Well, I look forward to understanding what how this is all going to play out, because I think it's pretty exciting. In the meantime, I send you all my love, and I wish you the very best as you navigate these energies, and from my nipples to yours, namaste.